Hello, thank you for tuning in to this telecast. This is the Diaspora Panel, the voice of the diaspora. And I have with me, as always, I have Mr. Olaito Adedigba, who is based in America, United States of America. Mr. Olaito Adedigba, you are welcome.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
I also have Mr. Olalawal, who is based in Canada. Mr. Olalawal, you are also welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Again, I want to say thank you to all viewers. If this is your first time and you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please hit that subscription button. It is free of charge. It means that when next we do a new video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. And if you have any information for us, please send your emails to info@diasporapanel.com. Today, we want to discuss corruption in Nigeria. And the question we are asking everybody is, are Nigerians crazy? If you look in the last few months, we've seen a series of corruption scandals. We've seen the scandal in the humanitarian department where a minister has now been suspended. Recently, we saw something going on the social media about the chief of naval staff who has been accused of dipping it, of receiving bribe of about 170 million US dollars. In the last few hours, we saw something else going on the internet that the Minister of Works, former Governor Umahi, that he has paid some, he has transferred some money, about 9 billion naira into some mini banks. And we know about all the corruption cases that has been going on. We know about Genziani, who has stolen about 20 million. And there's so many, corruption scandal, like the Aliborting scandal. There's so much scandal. So the question we are asking tonight is, if somebody can steal 20 billion pounds, a money that you cannot spend in 10 lifetimes, people, Abacha, all the money Abacha stole, we are still receiving them in trickles from Switzerland, from America, from the UK, from so many parts of the world. Somebody who lived in Nigeria, who never lived abroad, but was basic, still, taking money to Switzerland, to America, to France, to places where you're not going to live. And today, we have people stealing money they cannot, they cannot spend in their lifetime. In fact, if they come back to life 10 times, they won't be able to spend this money. So are Nigerians mad? Lighton, first of all, let me start with you because you are the first person in the studio. What are why are Nigerians stealing money and then taking them abroad? What is the root cause of this?
Yeah, the problem is it has remote and immediate cause. The remote cause is the leadership in Nigeria. If the leader can lead by example, Nigeria will be okay. Let's go back to the era of Gowon when he said money is not a problem, but how to spend it. Right? If they use those money, right, to develop infrastructure, right? They use that money to create a living environment whereby we have a lot of companies in Nigeria. They borrow people money to develop agriculture, right? To develop agroeconomy, to develop fertilizer, to develop, to do refinery, to build the refinery in all the states. Like we are Venezuela that as small as they have 8 refineries. Nigeria would have been okay, right? But successive governments, they are now building on it. The issue of corruption, they don't see it as big deal. And the more they are stealing, the more they are killing the system. The money they are supposed to spend, right, on education, on health sector, some people will just steal it. The height of it was when the Accountant General of Nigeria. So 80 billion naira.
Mm.
What is he going to do with it, for God's sake? The accountant general is the apex body to supervise how Nigerian money is being spent. A lot of money, what is coming in, what is going now, right? They are the ones stealing money. Like just because when he said where the gold is sourced, what's better than their young. Likewise, the political class, the money the stupendous money they are earning, right? Whereby some people cannot afford a square meal. And for every contract, for every deal they want to pass, they have to take a kickback. And nobody is checkmating them. Right? It's not in the military. Before anything goes from your table, you have to give them a kickback. In the military, they want to employ people on unemployed job. Student people. They have them to go and pay thousands of naira, a million. Are we not crazy? So people, they are there, you work there, you work yourself, and some people you want to employ them because there is shortage of staff. You are asking them to go and pay money before they can be employed. And thank God, President Tinubu is doing something. During President Jonathan, he will be dividing those people who stole money. And who stole Nigeria money. It doesn't even know anything about the money they are stealing. Right? So it is this one that is coming out. Thank God. But let us give him more support. The civil society, the student union, the labor union, everybody in Nigeria, they should rise up. This is the time. And not only that, those people who believe in the way we are fighting, in the way the government is fighting corruption, they should support him. They should support President Tinubu, right? If we need a lot of people, I might say, they don't even know what corruption is.
Okay.
If you use your office, right, to allocate something to yourself, it's corruption.
Okay.
They should be educated about these things.
Let me pause you. Let me pause you there. Let me go
Okay.
to Shupo. Shupo, please unmute yourself. So, Shupo, if somebody has $1 million, anybody, no matter how big you are, no matter how poor, rich you are, no matter how good looking, ugly you are, anybody can live on $1 million a year. Anybody can live on $1 million a year. Now, if you live for 100 years, that's 100 million. Why are people stealing $20 billion? Why are people stealing $10 billion? What is this a disease in the brains of Nigerians? Are Nigerians mad? And then they steal the money in Nigeria and they take it abroad so that the money is no longer available in Nigeria. And Nigerian government will now go abroad to borrow that money that we have stolen. People have taken, in fact, the last PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, has a lot of investment in Dubai, which ordinarily, if it had been in Nigeria, will have made Nigeria another Dubai. And so many of our leaders taking our money outside of the shores of Nigeria, money that are in billions that they can never spend. So, Shupo, is there a particular reason? Are we programmed by the British during the independence to behave this way? What do you think is responsible for this?
Thank you very much for having me. So I think a lot of the problems we have in Nigeria today is deeply rooted in our culture as a people. And I say that because, there are so many things that you can see in what we believe that transcends into our governance the type of people that we elect into public office and the overall impact that they make on society. And I will give you a couple of examples. Culturally, there are certain things that we believe, and you will see it in some of our, sayings. So, for example, we believe nobody has anything important to say if you're not wealthy financially. The respect you get from society is not based mostly on your contributions as a person to human development, to societal improvement. It's based on, how much you are perceived to have financially. So the incentive for most people, to get respect, to get honor, is to be wealthy, and to be wealthy at all costs. So people will resort to embezzlement of public funds and all that, because nobody will ask you where you got the money from. Once you are perceived to be, financially well off, that earns you respect. There is pretty much no doors that you cannot knock, and all of those things. So that is what shapes, in my perception, the thinking of an average Nigerian. You hear it in sayings that a rich man is speaking, a poor man says he has an idea. So these are the things. Now, if you look at society, a lot of people are still struggling to, satisfy the basic necessities of life: food, water, shelter, decent clothing. So they are still at that survival level. If government is able to, provide a society where, those physiological needs are met, and also there is safety and security, what you will find is most Nigerians will then begin to look more into the self-actualization. So the need to steal on a massive scale is no longer there. They will be looking more to, self-actualization in terms of, who am I? What is my purpose, and what can I add to make society a better place? And then I will also say, just to kind of wrap up very quickly, when you see people, in a social gathering, spraying money, even spraying hard currency, where there are people who can barely even afford, 3 square meals, you are bound to have a society where anyone who feels disenfranchised, where they have an opportunity, they're going to try and grab as much as they can. So these are the things that are playing out. And until we address these things in our culture and in our society, we will not get to that level where people in public office, even with opportunity, will rather do something to make society better than to grab whatever they can, because that's the only way that they can have relevance, so to speak, in the society in which they found themselves.
Thank you very much. And we don't know, I think Lighton has done some. Okay, Lighton, you're back. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute. So now the next thing I want us to discuss is that despite the fact that there's been so many cases of corruption in Nigeria, why is it so difficult to bring people to justice? For example, look at the Niger Delta, where we had at one point that there are 4,800 pipes, illegal pipelines there, which had been removed by the military. So many tankers have been caught, destroyed, but not one single person has been brought to justice. We've seen all the, the crew, but the real people who owns a ship, the real people who owns a pipeline, all these big men, none of them have been brought to justice. So does it mean that the government itself is, is it the government is complacent, or is the government itself part of the deceit? So Lighton, what do you think is going on?
Yeah, but like I said earlier on, the way evil emanates, the way virtue emanates from the top. Likewise, evil emanates from the top. Don't forget, these people, they are the people at the end of affairs, they are the ones supporting them. They are the ones that go and do this, go and do that. Right? Nothing will happen out of it. And they will find a way to bribe the judiciary. Right? That is where you will know that Nigeria is in deep mess. When you commit an offense, they will send you to jail here in America, in the developed world. When you commit an offense, they will send you to jail to serve as a deterrent. In the jail, you will have everything to yourself. You play football, you watch television, you go to college, you go and do whatever you want to do, you do it. They try to reform you so that when you go back to the society, you won't do that again. But in Nigeria, nobody has ever been taught. Right? Nobody will be taught. Look at Cuomo, the former governor of Lagos, former local government chairman in New York. What do they call them? So they asked him 18 years ago.
Mayor.
Former mayor of New York. He touched a lady, just touching, not drawing anything. So he has to go and resign because he did that. There should be a penalty for whatever consequence. There should be a consequence for whatever you do. But in Nigeria, there's no consequence. Everybody will do whatever they like. Nothing will happen out of it. Charity stole a lot of money. Eventually, nothing happened out of it. So in Nigeria, it is real life. Any peace problem, we have any peace problem in Nigeria. Right? Those people, they are the ones fermenting all these problems. And everybody wants to, okay, these people want to get there, you want to commit atrocity. And you will get away with it because you belong to the cabal. You belong, somebody they need. It's people irritating. So to come to see how we can reduce corruption in Nigeria, right? We need to go digital. All the money going now, right? We want to. Everybody will know how it is best spent, right? So once everything is digitalized, you want to know how much you got in your office. You want to know how much you expended. You want to know how much is left. So these are the ways we can correct. It can go and anybody public information stuff. So you can ask them. Civil society organizations can ask them. So Nigeria, I don't know. Nobody wants to go. Nobody wants to do anything except they give you bribe. They give you things. Even if they don't give you, you will ask. I remember during Babangida now, David was given order in this world. He went to jail because of that.
Okay. Let me pause you there. Shupo, look at the case of Diaziani, who has been accused of stealing about 20 billion pounds. In the last 8 years, she's been in England. Nigeria has not been able to extradite her back here to come and answer for the crimes. There was an Accountant General of Nigeria who stole over 100 billion naira.
80 billion. 80 billion.
Is it 80 billion?
80 billion. 80 billion.
Okay.
It was made a chief.
And it was made a chief in, is it in Kano? Or is it in Katsina? It was made a chief somewhere in the north. So, is this are we mentally deranged? What is wrong with Nigeria? What is wrong with Nigeria?
So, as I said earlier, and the example you've given is a very perfect example. The problem we have is mainly cultural. The example you've just given, somebody stole 80 billion, he was made a chief. What message is that sending? It means if you are wealthy, no matter how you acquire that wealth, you become somebody important in society. So what is that going to tell young people? It's going to tell young people that it's okay for them to steal. It's okay for them to engage in illegal activity. There is no consequence. As a matter of fact, there is a reward for it. People catch on to those social clues very quickly. Now, if the reverse was the case, that he stole money, but somebody who wasn't rich, but who had led an exemplary life was made chief, what message would that send? It will be a deterrent that if you want to be a chief, somebody who is regarded in society, that is your pathway. It means you involve yourself only in activities that are beneficial to your society, that that will develop your people, and activities that will be seen as those of a person of integrity. So it is amazing in Nigeria that we do these things, yet we expect the opposite to happen. It will never happen. The problem we have in Nigeria is mostly cultural. And if we begin to deal with those cultural things, we will begin to see a change in society. I will even extend that to a level much further. The values we see in each family setting are the values that we will see play out in the larger society.
Yeah.
If you look at most Nigerian families, when we were growing up, what we used to hear are things like, hard work is important. A good name is better than silver or gold. Remember the son and daughter of whom you are. Those are, the things that we used to hear growing up. And those things shaped who we became. In Nigeria today, when young men and women err, what happens? They get built up by their families.
In fact, Shukwa, let me interject. Parents now go to the exam hall and smuggle answers to their children so that they can pass the exam. That's the society we have now.
Yes. So, and yet we expect the country all of a sudden to be good. It can never happen. So family units are the building block of the larger society. And I will say every Nigerian who wants a better Nigerian should start with their own families, because that is where they have their own sphere of influence. If families begin to hold their members accountable, what will happen? As a society, it will be very easy for us to hold our elected officials accountable. As a matter of fact, the type of people who will end up in leadership will be people who understand their role in society, who will be accountable naturally to the societies in which they come from, and who will deliver massively, because the societies and the families units in which they come from are family units where they enjoy a lot of these values, and they've seen these values actually result in the development of family members.
So what you are saying is that the present crop of leadership that we have that are stealing is a mirror of what is going on in our families. So it's from top to bottom. So, but one question I want to end up with here, Lighton, is that before President Tinubu came to power, there's a lot of people who are saying, this man is a corrupt man. He didn't have certificate. He's a very sick man. There's no gooder. He's not going to do anything. In fact, it's going to be worse. But we found out that this man is tackling corruption. This man is making all the hard calls. He's removing all the currency arbitrage. He's removing the petroleum scam. He has removed it. It's blocking all the holes, even though things are hard. But it's putting Nigeria on the right pedestal. Because before we were in denial. But it's telling us this is the way to reach. It's a hard path to go, because at the end of the tunnel, there's a light there. So, Lighton, were you expecting Tinubu to be a great leader? Were you expecting him to tackle corruption?
With his antecedents in Lagos State, I know he would be a good leader. But my fear for him is where the corruption will be fighting back. What they should do now is the corruption is fighting He's not fighting it for himself. He's not fighting it for his family, but he's fighting for Nigeria to be a great nation. We are too big to have a small dream. Nigeria is a big nation to have a small dream. As a result, all land must be on deck. Everybody, even the people who are surrounding me, when you remove the shaft from the state, then it's okay. That is what the past leader have not been doing. Those people follow them, they judge the train, and they will look back. Even Obasanjo, how great he was. I mean, he is when he was in power. He look where people are surrounding you are stealing, but provided it's in your team, right? The same thing, but this is the only leader that is fighting corruption that I've seen so far. Since democracy, the why Shagari, since the time of Shagari, he is the only man, the only head of it that is fighting corruption that I've seen. People are, at the speed of a light, he will swing into action. So he wants to know, so I never expected less for him that he will fight corruption. So, and now everybody must be carried along. The information department, they should be disseminating information to the people that corruption is bad. The evil machination of corruption, they should be telling people. The civil servants, they should be informing them. Everybody, they must join in the hand. It will not be only him alone fighting this corruption. Right? Because people believe in him, everybody must believe in the cause to make this cause a successful one. Right? That is how it should be. Because all the money they are stealing is powering development in Nigeria. It's powering economic stuff in Nigeria. It's powering the health sector. It's powering educational sector. It's powering everything, all facets of life in Nigeria. So that's how we join it. Right? And we make sure that we start out corruption in Nigeria. Then Nigeria will be a greater place to live. And it will leave a sound footing on the pedestal of issues in Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Like
You're welcome.
Chupo, to continue from where Lata has stopped, he mentioned something that is very, very important. He said corruption will fight back. He said he has a fear for BAT. Now, we know that if you look now in Nigeria, suddenly there's a spate of kidnappings everywhere all over the country. There's the killings in Niger State, in Plateau State, in Kaduna, in so many places are suddenly increased ever since the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs was suspended. And this government is started to fight corruption with every available means that is asked. So we know that corruption will fight back. Do you have any fear for the president?
I don't. And I will say that, there is no evidence so far to suggest that, people behind corruption are the ones that are, responsible for all the, insecurity and everything. But it is not unreasonable to think, for example, that people who are involved in one criminal activity or illegal activity, once that has been taken from them, will likely resort to others, to try and make up for, whatever they would have gained. I think we have to see the fight against corruption in two perspectives. I would agree that, to fight corruption, you first of all need to identify corrupt activity. And I think we are seeing evidence of things that we would never have heard about coming to light about, ministers transferring money to personal accounts and all that. So it seems that there is a real and a genuine intent to identify corrupt activity. But that also has to be followed up by taking the appropriate action. And appropriate action would mean holding corrupt officials accountable. So it means taking the proceeds of crime and corruption from them putting them in jail, after going through the appropriate legal process. I think we are seeing the first part playing out. We are yet to see the second part of it actually play out. So we've heard, for example, money was sent, from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs to private accounts. Well, has that money? Well, I mean, there was a memo to transfer money, and maybe some money already made it, but that's how much we've heard.
They're still investigating.
So yeah, I mean, they're still investigating. Yeah. I will wait to see if whatever funds were actually sent to private accounts are actually being repatriated.
I'm sure it will be repatriated. I'm very, very confident.
Well, I'm just saying, let's wait and see.
I can assure you it will be.
If the latter actually happens, then I will be convinced, quite honestly, that this administration is actually set to fight corruption. Permit me to say two more things. First and foremost, I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in my mind, it seems to me that he wants to tackle corruption, which is the reason why we are hearing all of this.
He's tackling it. He's tackling it.
Okay, well, I'm using the word seems because, again, I'm still waiting to see the fruits of that, of those activities. So I want to see illegally transferred funds being repatriated and people actually being put to jail. For me, that would be a no-brainer that this man is out to fight corruption. I think that the second thing is,
and I can tell you, Shukwa, just one moment, I can tell you that, referring to that humanitarian issue, I heard from a very, very
reliable source
that so many people have returned so much money in secretly returning this money. So I'm very, very confident that the president is actually fighting this corruption and is getting the money back. So continue with your thoughts.
Okay. So yeah. So and my second and final thing is also that to say that if this administration actually tackles corruption, that will be the beginning of a new era, I think, in Nigeria, because what that means is that, first and foremost, we have a government that has recognized that corruption is the single existential threat to Nigeria's existence, and it's actually doing something about it. We will begin to likely see government funds and government programs actually achieve the purpose for which they were put in place. For example, the school meals program. Imagine what will actually happen if the money that was being mismanaged is actually now reaching school children.
The right people, yeah.
The right people, So this, I think we need to look at it in that larger perspective, that if this administration really tackles corruption, we will begin to see a different Nigeria. The last thing I will say is that, fighting corruption at that level is what we need, because the fish, they say, always thinks from the head. For you to fight corruption, it means you yourself, at least while in that office, you are not engaging in corrupt activities. Because if you are, it's a no-brainer. That is going to come out, and that will actually weaken your ability to be able to tackle corruption.
Thank you very much, Shukwa. Lighter, we just have one more minute or so. So I just wanted to give a one-liner. If you are to advise the president now, I know what must be going on through his mind. He's looking on the left, looking on the right. He's seeing corruption everywhere. It's like he's in a field filled with shit. And he has to tiptoe his way to clean all, there's a lot of things to be cleaned. And I can see he's gone to France now to rest for about 2 weeks. I mean, apparently to make some decisions. So, he's coming back with, maybe he's going to fire some people. He's going to reappoint some new people. He's going to rejig the system. So, if you are to advise the president, will you tell him to continue on the path of, addressing this corruption, and getting Nigeria on the straight path? Or what kind of message will you be passing to the president?
Yeah, Mr. President, my advice is simple. For Uri, he's been a champion of human rights. He's been a non-conformist. He's been a pro MK, pro Jew. I mean, he's been a foresight guy, so to say, and he should not be free from that. And in doing that, like I said earlier on, all hands must be on deck. When you are fighting this corruption, let everybody be aware, right? When they are aware, you gain their support. When you gain their support, the fight will be easy. But in instance, we need new education. We need to re-educate ourselves. We need new orientation. Right from primary to secondary to tertiary to the worker or Nigeria. We need to say like we did during the Diagbon era, right? Operation Kai, I can't remember now. It doesn't come up. So
war against the discipline.
War against the discipline. Yeah, war against the discipline. So everybody must be along. So when you do something, and when you do something, I mean, you should be thinking that is this fair, is this just to what that concern. These are the things we should be thinking about. Not that what I'm taking, I want to take it back for the job I'm collecting salary for, any paper that comes to my mind, I think. Like some people in Abuja, they are collecting money before they issue a contract. They said they should go and bring 25%. The civil servant, right, in Abuja. So all these things, we should go along. They should be doing seminars, they should be doing symposiums, they should be doing conferences every now and then. Look at CNN. Every day we see how they continue educating people. In America, continue educating people. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. They know, but they keep hammering it to them that they do not. So by that, they are creating awareness. By that awareness, it will reduce. Gradually, it will be reduced. It will be reduced. See, this is how, right? So these are they just the information department. The Federal Ministry of Information needs a lot of work to do. They have information department in all the local government too. They have in the state, they have local information department. So everybody, they should make a serious propaganda now for everybody to know that corruption. No, but everybody to the extent when you want to give or you want to take, I mean, you will think twice. So that is how to go about it. That is my advice to Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Shukwa, just what's your last statement and just a one-liner? Lighter is talking about something very important about this war against discipline that was brought about by General Diagbon many years ago. And I think the man actually knew what he was talking about. He wanted to straighten us out. Do you think we need something like that now in Nigeria?
If I go by that program, I think we could all see the impact it had on society. And that tells me that there has to be a messaging of what is expected from Nigerians. I think it should be at all institutions of learning. What is your responsibility as a citizen? What does Nigeria expect from you? What is illegal activity? What is fraud? All of these things must be taught at those institutions of higher learning. And there's also a role for government. And this is where I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should focus on. If the government is able to implement programs that will focus on providing the basic necessities for people, I mean, physiological needs, food, water, shelter, health, basic health care, respecting property rights, creating employment, creating a plain level field, what would that do? It will reduce the incentive for people to engage in illegal activity. As a matter of fact, it will be much easier to earn a decent livelihood than to try and get into activities that will hurt the larger society. So it's a two-faced approach. You have to provide that awareness on what Nigeria expects from its citizens, what is fraudulent activity, what, you know, and what is the punishment for it, and all of these things, I think, will come together to build a virile society.
Thank you very much. Well, we've come to the end of today's deliberation. I want to say thank you to all our viewers. Please, again, if you have not yet subscribed, please hit that button now. It is free of charge. It means anytime we'll do the next video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. So I want to say thank you for coming to today's meeting, Mr. Olalawal, all the way from Canada. Thank you for coming to today's meeting.
Thank you for having me.
And Mr. Olaiton Adidigba, all the way from America. Thank you for coming to today's meeting.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure being here this afternoon.
And I'm yours truly, the Giola here. I'm based in Ireland. We hope to see you again next week. And until then, goodbye and God bless you.